There is a term that frequents a lot of the pagan groups, and that is UPG, which stands for Unverified Personal Gnosis. In the Wiccan community, that would be known as being eclectic. It is taking what information that you have about a tradition, a path, and try to make it as correct as possible, and then use your best guess in filling in the gaps. Because paganism was severely damaged due to Christian involvement, there are a lot of gaps in a lot of pagan traditions. We do our best that we can. We have the Celtic Reconstructionists who try to adamantly say this is fact, this isn't, and we're only going to go by what the facts are. But society changes. Who we are today is different from who we were back then. Back then, pagans, and I'm pretty sure every culture in paganism, had some form of sacrifice. Many performed animal sacrifices, and many also performed human sacrifices. Well, we're not going to start that now. So just because it was valid then doesn't mean that it's valid now, and vice versa. So we are left with trying to create a tradition, a path that is full of guesswork. The problem with that is sometimes what we try to fill in those gaps with is very sketchy. It is sometimes counterproductive. It has no way to fill in what our ancestors did. I am Scotch-Irish, and so I try to find a path that honors what my ancestors did in the British Isles. And that is very hard to do. So I am forced into taking guesses, making a wild grasp in the dark on what my ancestors did, such as the Sabbats. Now, do you know that there are people that say that the Celtic people did not follow all 8? Some say they do, some say they don't. There is a different points of view on when the Celtic year started. Some say that it's just like all the other pagans with Yule. But there are many Celtic people, many people that would classify themselves as Druids, that would say that the Celtic New Year started on Samhain. And I personally agree with that, with the later. But we are forced into taking guesses. And sometimes that causes some troubles, because then somebody that has done some research on paganism, on a particular culture or tradition, their research has come up with something different, and this could cause problems, because, you know, this person says this, you say that. Who's right, who's wrong? And under the perfect skies and all that, we would like to say that nobody's right. Well, nobody's wrong. Everybody is right. You are able to believe as you wish. However, somebody might be, and logically, somebody is historically more correct than the other. But it does not mean that their beliefs are any lesser. If their path works for them, and it follows some form of logical, reasonable beliefs, then we should support it. The other side of the coin is if somebody comes up with a concept that is completely asinine, that is completely untethered to any form of reality. I was in a discussion in a Druid group, and I was bringing this up, and I was using the example of Power Rangers. One of the show episode themes of Power Rangers was Power Rangers Mystic Force, where they used magic, and they had brooms and all that stuff. And because it was taking place, I believe, in English woods, that would mean that they were druids. Well, could somebody use that concept of Power Rangers Mystic Force as a basis for druids? Now, there might be an aspect or two that makes sense because, they were defending nature, wonderful, and they were going and fighting up against believed forces of evil, which is another wonderful thing, but pretty much everything else is just really questionable. It does not have any foundation with reality. In this discussion in this other group, I had a lady that said that her friend was using Lord of the Rings in some of her beliefs on druids because she believed that the five wizards, Gandalf, Radagast, Saruman, Palanto, and Altar were the perfect representations of druids. And so she was taking the actions of Radagast and Gandalf and used that as a basis for druids for her. And, I understand the concept, but paganism is an earth-based belief system. And so I look at it as how much of this belief can be tethered towards the earth. And in the point of the Lord of the Rings wizards, there's a little bit more than the Power Rangers, but still. So, a UPG, an unverified personal Gnosis, is what we're forced to do, but we have to question it, challenge it ourselves frequently to make sure that it is grounded within reason to what our ancestors possibly believed in. Because we'll never know factually everything that they believed in and how they celebrated each and every event in life. But we got to do the best we can. So everybody, take care. Be at peace.